Testing sound, testing sound. 1, 2, 3, testing sound. Well, welcome back, folks, to this Deviant Racing League. It's time for round 3 of the Season 3.2. And we are at the Cathedral of Speed, Monza, or some might say the Mausoleum of Hopes and Dreams. Sometimes it all goes very, very wrong here in Monza for our drivers. But tonight, let's hope for a brighter picture. We have got the standings after race 2 in the championship. We've got our Hyphy Honda, who has got 2 from 2 in terms of our wins so far on 41 points. However, the fastest lap eluded him in the last race and went by the way of the Lamborghini driver T. Deeds. We have Huge Jar in the Ferrari, who missed round 1 and managed to get a 15-point haul from round 2. Then below the promotion line for the GT3 League, we have at the moment Rue in 4th on 20 points, closely followed by Lalo Kills, who has 19 points. Then we have Saito, Anatole, followed by Devin and Thrasher. Then comes Kane on 6 points in 10th place. Kuros Kai is in 11th with 9 in total. However, all these numbers are before the drop score at the end of this season. Then we have Sully, Silo and Golden Oracle. On the combined between GT3 and GT4 Manufacturers Cup, Alfa Romeo lead at the moment with 78 points from Team Ferrari. On 49, we have Jaguar on 61 points in 3rd place. And in 4th, we have the Peugeots on 48 points, but not particularly well contributed by the GT4 drivers here. We then have the Chevy team in 5th, joint with the Lamborghinis, and Renault bringing up the rear at the moment with just, of course, Slug, who's scoring reserve points only, and he has 10 points outside of all championship connotations. We are looking forward then to the race here in Monza. I'm just checking out if we've been told what the lap of the pitting was going to be. The safety car lap here at Monza is lap 14, and as you know, we were in Autopolis for the first round, Trial Mountain for the second, here in Monza for the third, and then we go to Alsace Reverse for the Grand Prix there. Then we have the Bathurst race, I believe, 12 Hours of Thunder, Down Under. Saint Croix B International is the penultimate round of the championship. And then we go to the fairly simple and straightforward Nürburgring to finish off the Endurance Championship here. But today we are starting in the morning here in Monza, and we're going to go and have a look at how our grid formed for the race. I'm going to get everything organised for you so I can see everything that I want to see. And we will have a look then at how things lined up for us. At the back of the grid, of course, we have our Mercury. That is the... Let's help you out here a little bit, shall we? We have Mercury in the safety car, who will peel into the pits after lap 1 and then come out during lap 13. Let me just check I got that correct. Lap 14, excuse me. That is the only lap that the drivers are forbidden. Lap 13 and 14, they are forbidden from pitting prior to the safety car coming out, but they can pit before that or after that, as you know. Then we've got Kuros Kai at the back of the grid in the blue and pink Renault Megane Trophy. Saito is in 11th position with Lalo Kills in the beautiful blue Alfa Romeo. Still no sponsors on the car, but we wait to see whether he can attract any corporate support. We have Devine in 9th position in the Chevy at the back there. And then we have Sully in the newly liveried Altoids Peugeot, and it looks like they are going to be changing their liveries throughout the season, which frankly I enjoy seeing, as long as it's not every driver doing it. Slug, a reserve driver there in the Renault Megane, he is in 7th place with Maxwell, or as I mentioned earlier, Anatole, in the classic Jaguar Racing colours, purple and white, for the tobacco company, but still a very, very classic one there for everybody. And then we have Thrasher in the red and black Ferrari with the yellow accents. He's in 5th place qualifying. We have Huge Jar in the Ferrari with the blue accents, the HP colour scheme, in 4th position. And then out qualifying his previous positions here is Rue, punching above slightly, you would have to say, in 3rd position. And then championship leader Hyphy Honda is in 2nd, having changed to a black and gold Alfa Romeo livery for this round. And then the human highlight reel T Deeds we have on pole position. Looking forward to the race then, folks. I hope you guys are too. Thank you for those of you who have joined us live already. And then we will be on our way very shortly for this 1 hour race around Monza. Let's go then and get you to the track. It's TD's away from the start. It's dropped the clutch. It's go, go, go. Hyphy Honda launching immediately. Rue straight into 2nd position. TD's had a massive bog down. I wonder if we had any hint of a jump start there as we go for the long, long run down to the Rettifilio chicane for the first time. It's Hyphy Honda in front of Rue. TD's, the drivers just taking their time. The 2 Ferraris come to blows and Thrasher is turned slightly round, steers into the Huge Jar, and then it is absolute monstrous melee into the Rettifilio for the following cars. We have a green flag back on the circuit, but unfortunately didn't work out well for the majority of the midfield. Maxwell is fighting with Deviant in the Chevy. Further back, we have Sully. We have our safety car, but at the front of the grid, TD's is fighting off Rue. He's heading down the inside. Shades of Vettel Hamilton down the outside of the second chicane there that time, and it is Rue in 3rd into the Lesmos. TD's back into 2nd position in the Lamborghini, racing on the home circuit here for the Bull. And he is then up into 2nd place. Hyphy Honda, though, distancing and gapping the field right from the outset with a fantastic launch on the soft tyres. Soft tyres too for TD's and for Rue in 3rd position. Remember, they'll try their hardest to get through to the safety car lap and pit after the safety car has come out, but it is a challenge here on the soft tyres with 6 times tyre usage. We have Thrasher in 4th and Huge Jar down into 5th position, but they did come very close to one another and certainly made contact in the first of the chicanes here at Monza. We head then down towards the Parabolica for the first time of asking. Huge Jar in 5th, then the 2 McGann trophies in the 6th and 7th. Slug, our reserve driver, leading Kuros Kai, the regular season driver, as we look for potentially some slipstream action. Do we? For down the long straight, it's much harder to action the slipstream in the GT cars here at Monza, but likewise it's harder to pull a gap as well. Down we go then into the Rettifilio chicane, and ultimately a lot calmer run then for the drivers at the moment, except for these 3. We have Maxwell on the inside, we have Saito sweeping around the outside in the Altoids car. Lalo Kills getting all over the apex curb of the chicane, and it's not working out particularly brilliantly for him, but Lalo Kills in 10th position, and then a gap behind him for the first of the Chevys. That is the second of the Chevys, excuse me. That's Divine with a 1 second penalty on the car already. Sully down into 12th in the Peugeot, and our Mercury driver, who is the safety car driver, down at the tail of the grid at the moment. Hyphy Honda, though, car 66 in the lead. Yes, you can just about see him. I thought in the shadows that he was driving black and gold, but he's actually driving the camouflage colour scheme. I wonder if that is anything to do with military connections there for Hyphy Honda. But T-Deeds in the Lamborghini with the fastest lap in the Trial Mountain round, most recently here in the GT4 group. Will hopefully try to unlock some speed now, but it is all about managing the tyres in this first phase of the race as we look forward to the first safety car period and the pit stop window opening for our soft tyre starting drivers. The fuel is coming off. The gaps are slowly but surely starting to open, with Rue super close here at the moment still to T-Deeds. Huge Jar has passed Thrasher. The blue accented Ferrari has passed the black accented Ferrari, and that has been negotiated with a little bit more civility than the first lap. It looks like Rue is tucked right up behind T-Deeds here in the battle for second position. I don't know if it's my eye deceiving me, but they do appear to be closing in on HiFi Honda at this stage. Rue looking for an opportunity down the inside. Cookie Monster on the car, but can he go munching into the first couple of turns at the moment? Everybody managing to make their way through nicely. The hint perhaps of a slight bit of lag on the car for T Deeds at the moment, unless that's just because I happen to be riding on board with Rue. Maybe Rue is the one with the lag. Oh, it does look possibly like it is Rue, as then Huge Jar starts to close in on the two who are fighting. At the moment at least, T-Deeds driving with at least one eye on his mirrors most of the time in car number 15 in the Beats liveried Lamborghini. Sorry, the Bang liveried Lamborghini Huracan, as he looks for an opportunity to grab that slipstream down one of the back straights here out of Lesmo 2. And let's have a look at the top speeds being reached. 135, 140 miles an hour. Can we get as high as 145 before hitting the brakes? We do, just about on board the Lamborghini, and we're starting to unlock some pace now. Fastest lap at the moment with Rue, a 158.503. T-Deeds on target at the moment, having brought those soft tyres in to try and better that one and head up that little bit further. I wonder if HiFi Honda, watching the race back earlier on in the season, understood that he could potentially have saved a lap. Such was his dominance and ticking over the 2-hour mark. We were very similar lap times to what we had in the previous round, around the 2-minute flat mark. Obviously, the more seconds we are south of that, that is a new fastest lap for T-Deeds, and it is then HiFi Honda, T-Deeds, Rue, followed by the Huge Jar, and then Thrasher on the medium tyres, and in a good position here. Not unusual to see Thrasher starting slightly off the same strategy as the rest of the drivers. Is that because he uses the tyres too much, or because he enjoys the speed later on? Some dark and foreboding clouds this early morning condition here in Monza, as Kuros Kai leads in 7th from Saito, closely followed again by Maxwell in the solo Jaguar we have on the grid at the moment. Lalo Kills is on the soft tyres, as are the majority of our drivers at the moment. It's Sully trying to go the long way around the Curva Grande, and the gold wheels on the Alfa Romeo not allowing him to get too much of a gap. Sully doesn't push it too far to go around the next chicane and holds on to that position. Now though, Deviant following behind as they break a tiny amount going into the first of the two Lesmo corners. Deviant though, obviously getting the car a little bit unsighted already. Lalo Kills has had some problems on the side of the car and has scratched up that all blue livery. Deviant though on the gravel between the two Lesmos, coming a little bit unstuck. Back at the front then, T-Deeds has taken the lead. Let's just check that one out. When did T-Deeds manage to take the lead? As we were going through, here we are on the way into Lesmo 1. Surely not. That's hardly a braking zone at all from T-Deeds, and he does tuck in through Lesmo 1 and makes the overtake. Tremendous stuff, and unlocking that pace on the previous lap, but bringing the soft tyres in as softly and gently as he could, and has managed to unlock some fantastic pace in lap 3 and lap 4, getting himself ahead here. And that is a fantastic overtake then for the lead of the race from T-Deeds into P1 then during lap 4, and in the same lap managing to set a purple sector as the car gets loaded on either side of the vehicle through the Ascari corner. T-Deeds now in the lead, but HiFi Honda closely following behind. Let's join HiFi Honda in the de facto passenger seat here as we head and have a look down into the apex of the Parabolica corner, as T-Deeds just drifting slightly away from the apex potentially, but HiFi Honda straight out onto the high grip exit of the final corner now, and just looking behind at Rue following. But both cars perhaps just slightly too far away to action a potential overtake at the moment. will have a mile an hour or two in profit of TD's, but TD's absolutely catching Hi-Fi Honda into the Lesmo 1. I wonder if that was a mistake out of the prior corner, the chicane from Hi-Fi Honda. But talking of mistakes, TD's was a little bit slow through the Rettifilio, and that might be a situation developing then. Next up for TD's, will Hi-Fi Honda round the Curva Grande manage to get the overspeed as a personal best sector from Hi-Fi Honda? Certainly he's got his tail up and he's hoping to try and capitalise on the smallest of tiny errors potentially from TD's there in P1. It's lap 5 right now. We have an all-American top 8. We obviously, American drivers dominating our GT4 grid, but Hughes Jar in 4th, Thrasher down in 5th at the moment. We have Slug in 6th, Saito in 7th, Kuros Kai fighting with Maxwell, who takes P8 through Lesmo 2, no, Lesmo 1 even, into Lesmo 2 now, as they try and maximise their way out of Lesmo 2 on the run down towards the Curva Grande and the run down towards Ascari. We look forward to seeing if they can make that one work. Just behind this group we have Sully fighting Deviant. Deviant wearing a penalty on the car, and that will be paid just after the Ascari corner, and perhaps Sully would have cause to complain here, because Deviant making an overtake for no reason whatsoever as they head up towards the penalty line. Sully will follow. The car will go completely off throttle. Lalo Kills pouncing here with a double toe. Lalo Kills up to 11th position. Is he? He's managed certainly to pass Sully, to pass Deviant, and running around down the inside now we go. Lalo Kills versus Sully, side by side down the start-finish straight. Drivers going straight out onto the apron on the outside of the circuit. Just in front of those drivers, Maxwell is challenging Saito down into the first corner. It'll be a battle on the brakes. Maxwell can brake a little bit later, a little bit longer into the corner, can tuck around, but that was contact with Saito, who waits very sportingly. He's waiting, but unfortunately that meant that the following cars, Slug and Lalo Kills, were able to pounce, and unfortunately for Slug, make contact with the back of the car. Let's maybe have a look at that again, perhaps from the perspective of another following driver. This is the kind of roadblock, but these big GT4 machines, and it absolutely blocked the way for our drivers coming through, as Saito tried to do the sporting thing and allow Maxwell to come back onto the grid. He's dropped down to 11th. Unfortunately, it hasn't really helped Maxwell, that late corner contact, because Lalo Kills and Slug have got through, and Slug up to P6 now as they negotiate who gets to go first into the next corner. Maxwell, big snap on traction on the outset. He fancies another look down into Lesmo 1 here, but Lalo Kills with the better racing line across the nose of the Jaguar. Lalo Kills holds on as they run then into the next corner, the next part of the Lesmo pairing, and we've got Maxwell then in P8 following behind the Lalo Kills car. It is absolutely frantic down here at the tail of the field, all the cars together, which is great to see. Very entertaining to have everybody nose to tail. Kuros Kai is following closely behind Maxwell here, and hoping to try and find his way on. Kuros Kai in P9, drawing alongside. Maxwell has picked up a penalty, just an off-track excursion there, as Kuros Kai is going to make the overtake regardless. Maxwell hopefully won't fight it too much, but will have to go the entire next lap knowing that he has at least a second off throttle on the approach to Parabolica next. Let's head up to the front, because it looked like something was starting to happen between the drivers down here. Just cycling through the corner, and we've got Slug on his own in P6 now with the Ferraris, the first of the Chevys, then the Alfa Romeo and the Lamborghini up front right now. I don't know if the teams are seeded. The driver selections by the teams are seeded, but Maxwell breaking down the inside, trying to get his way through those concrete bollards, and unfortunately for Maxwell, That is not the way to make it through. That wasn't the escape road that he was hoping for. Hits a concrete barrier, takes an additional time penalty there from resetting back to the track, and still has to go for a second off throttle. So a change of strategy, a change of race approach perhaps in due course for Maxwell. There is, though, still plenty of racing left to go. It's lap 7. We're expecting the safety car out on lap 14. So we shall see if anything develops from there. This is Deviant. Oh, and that's a bit of sideways, side-to-side action there. Maxwell coming to blows again, and just, I think, struggling with the tyres. Maxwell getting locked up, getting sideways, clattering into the Altoid livery Peugeot. Now he draws alongside Sully, who obviously had a problem coming out of Lesmo 2, but Maxwell will drop down to the tail of the grid here with the 1.5 second off throttle penalty that is coming after the Ascari chicane. So Sully down at the tail of the field at the moment, wearing the Herbie number 53. I wonder if they're going to do a Herbie special livery. It might well do now that I've said that, but they seem to be cycling through different confectionery or candy brands at the moment. It was Juicy Fruit last time out in its Altoids, now altogether much more sensible and adult livery. Maxwell then down to the tail of the grid, as I mentioned earlier. TD has opened up a beautiful lead here to Roux. Hyphy Honda has had a problem. Let's check out what became of Hyphy Honda. I'm doing myself no favours here at all, am I, by continually setting replays. It looked like it was here. It was just on the exit of Lesmo 2. A snap around, and around goes Hyphy Honda. He has to do a reverse to the track, a restart. That was not the safest of restarts from Hyphy Honda, unfortunately, but that's what happened to him. Down to 5th position goes our championship leader and winner of the first 2 rounds of the race. Will that impact his ability to complete a 3 on the bounce mission? He certainly made it more difficult for himself. Now in 3rd is the Huge Jar. Thrasher is in 4th, and remember, Thrasher is on the medium tyres, unlike the 3 drivers in front of him and the one most immediately behind. It's TD's leading, Roux in 2nd position. Nice big gap between the 2 of them as far as TD's is concerned. Huge Jar a little bit further back still. Then comes Thrasher on the mediums. Then we have Hyphy Honda in 5th position now, and managing to avoid any long-lasting damage. He's certainly burning through the fuel. I imagine he managed to start this race on low fuel. I didn't think the game allowed that, but it clearly has allowed him to underfuel the car. I believe there is a setting that you can customize, but most leagues that I commentate on make this a default situation, which is a full tank of fuel. It is much better, though, on the soft tyres to run low fuel for as fast a speed as possible. Lowest weight, least amount of force going through the tyres. And it is the left-hand side of the car that is struggling most. This is Slug on his own in P6 with a plenty of alcohol sponsors at the moment. Of course, if you're driving, never drink, especially if you're league racing. That's the last thing we want. And now the Mobile 1 liveried Divine, who has updated that livery again. I'm going to have my hands full with this Deviant League, with drivers being very happy on the livery editor. I love to see it from time to time, I really do, especially given the Peugeot's theme here of changing as they go through different confectionery. Well, Maxwell, down in 12th, has not been able to unlock any major pace at this stage, unfortunately for him. TD's also short-fueled here, as is Roux. I don't know if they'll even make it through to the safety car lap of lap 14, so they may be pitting before that safety car. A Cookie Monster in 2nd position, looking to try and move forward. Of course, very good looking car here from Roux, very different in theme to his teammate actually as well. So let's see who triumphs. Is it the sensible Mobile 1, or is it the rather less sensible Cookie Monster who is going to come out on top here? Lap 9, and TD's leads Roux and Huge Jar. Thrasher in 4th. Hi-Fi Honda following Thrasher, but unable really here to gain at this stage. He's having to tiptoe around. Hi-Fi Honda is very good at tyre management, but maybe it's in part down to the Alfa Romeo being gentle on its tyres in comparison to the fairly large, hefty-looking other cars, especially I'm thinking about the Ferrari here, this big rear end. I'm thinking of the Chevys and potentially the Megans and the Peugeots also might be a little bit heavier on their tyre wear. Hi-Fi Honda is certainly able to stretch those soft tyres as far as he needs them to go. Some good consistent lap times here from Thrasher, bearing in mind he's on the medium tyre and is doing some great work right now. Fuel light flashing on Hi-Fi Honda, so his fuel has run out before his tyres. That could well be a miscalculation here. The last thing you want to do is pit because of fuel and leave tyre grip out to spare, frankly. Now the fuel light is flashing. There's a lot of obviously full throttle moment on the Monza lap. TD has pitted from the lead of the race, and much more to be expected with his tyre wear. Huge Jar goes through and past the pit lane and has some fuel to spare and a little bit of tyre wear. Hi-Fi Honda, predictably enough, into the pits as well. So your new gap now is your new grid, I should say, is Huge Jar in the lead and the blue flashing Ferrari. Then comes Thrasher, and Slug goes through past several drivers as well. Thrasher on the medium tyres. I would not be surprised to see try and make it to, well, I was going to say try and make it to the safety car period, but on the medium tyres with the fuel light flashing, again, another driver who perhaps under-fueled for his tyre wear, or is maybe the drivers are just experiencing lower deg than they were expecting here. TD's back out into 4th place now and has also then fitted the soft tyres again. So that's interesting. A full tank of fuel on the soft tyres. I would expect if you're going to be putting full tank of fuel on that you put a harder compounded tyres. But what do I know? I'm just a commentator. Rue's done exactly the same thing as well. Run onto the full tank of fuel and soft tyres. Some drivers just prefer to put as little fuel in at the end of the race as possible in their second stop. Of course, this league is designed to try and make 2-stop races over the course of the hour. We are 20 minutes deep. No sign yet of the safety car. And you're several cars yet to pit. Saito is managing to get round this lap okay, but his front left completely destroyed. Hi-Fi Honda is back out. He's also on the soft tyres. Maxwell down in 10th at the moment, again picking up a 1.5 second penalty. Unfortunately for him, that there'll just be track limits. It's easily done around Monza due to the configuration and the way in which the corners invite you to push, but unfortunately there's plenty of gravel and asphalt overrun on the outside of the circuit. Huge Jar in P1 pits and Thrasher in just behind him with 1% of fuel left. That was very fine margins there for Thrasher. Slug also in the pits, and that means we will have something approaching a normal order of the race prior to the safety car coming out. TD's in first position then once again. Rue powering through into second. Huge Jar has exited the pits where things were a couple of laps ago. Can't cross that white line unless you want to pick up a penalty. So in P3 then Huge Jar out, Thrasher out as well. This time now Thrasher on the soft tyres has managed to avoid the undercut from Hi-Fi Honda, who will be a bit disappointed with his outlap there. He had an opportunity to try and action an undercut on Thrasher. Thrasher full fueled. Hi-Fi Honda clearly also did the same, so there's no difference in the stationary time to speak of, and Hi-Fi Honda just unable to unlock the pace on his outlap to try and make that undercut work for him. Thrasher holding on to 4th position, and we've got equal conditions on the cars now, just 1 lap older on the soft tyres for Hi-Fi Honda, but very similar handling for the two drivers as things stand. The rest of the gaps have opened out quite considerably. I'm going to stay with this group for a little while. TD's Lee's Roo from Huge Jar in front of them, and then we have, of course, Thrasher and Hyphy Honda in that 5th position, waiting now to head towards Ascari for the 11th time at racing speed. And Hyphy Honda, much wider entry. I don't know if Thrasher got that entry wrong, or Hyphy Honda, or whether it's just playing to the strengths of the respective cars. Joining Hyphy Honda on board for a few moments. We have a 2.7 meter per second westerly wind on the cars. That's going to affect the turn in here, certainly, for Parabolica Alboreto. And that might explain why the drivers have had some problems coming through the Lesmo complex as well, just with those relatively high winds causing issues for them both that we've seen on track at least. Hyphy Honda not quite close enough, it seems, to challenge Thrasher here into the Rettifilio. And Slug out in 6th and completely on his own here, looking for a good points finish as he had in the previous round. Deviant in 7th in the Mobile 1 Chevy. And then we have Lalo Kills in 8th position. Kuros Kai in a similar blue, but this time with a pink stripe down the middle of his Renault Megane trophy. Saito in the Altoids Peugeot has had a mashed up rear fender on the car, and a slightly banged up front fender as well on the front right of the car, and the chrome effect, or I guess at least pearl effect on the car does show that up. He needs some more stickers if he's going to get in the wars like that. Maxwell, oh, just wide on the exit of the Rettifilio, sticks a wheel out onto the gravel. So Maxwell down in 12th at the moment, and still our safety car driver for today, Mercury, just taking his time here to get out and get out of the race. We're going to see the safety car come in shortly. TD's leads from Roo and Huge Jar, whereas the closest battle on the grid at the moment, Thrasher and Hyphy Honda. Hyphy Honda has caught Thrasher considerably here and is about to draw alongside. Well, Thrasher is taking the middle of the track here as an opportunity, but he peels across to the racing line, opens the door for Hyphy Honda. They avoid contact because Thrasher leaves a car width on the inside. That was skillfully done, but has he compromised his run out of the Parabolica? I think he has. Hyphy Honda with a better run and a fantastic slipstream here. Here we go. Can we get alongside? We've certainly got claim to the inside line. We can brake slightly later on board the camo liveried Alfa Romeo. Thrasher just tiptoes his way around the outside, and it doesn't quite work for Hyphy Honda, but a lot of respect paid by both drivers there to each other, and very, very nervous of getting unstuck in the Rettifilio chicane. So through Curva Grande, and Thrasher, who managed to get the better grip exit out of the Della Roggia, out of the Rettifilio, enters the Della Roggia ahead enough to dissuade another movement from the car behind. Hyphy Honda, championship leader, remember, and double winner. 2 from 2 so far for Hyphy Honda. Waiting now for the safety car to come out, I believe. TD Drew, Huge Dart, Thrasher, Hyphy Honda, Slug, your top 6, as I'm expecting the safety car to come out of the pit lane very soon. That will condense the field, of course. Hyphy Honda getting the slipstream once again, looking for that inside line, but Thrasher just putting half a car width across to the middle of the road. It is a narrow racetrack, so if you're smart about it, you don't give up too much in the way of track real estate or too much grip off the racing line, but you just make the following car, the attacking car, think twice about making a move. Thrasher, little wiggle going into the Parabolica, indicates to me that he's pushing very hard and struggling to get that Ferrari onto the nose. Looks like we have got our safety car out. Safety car is out, so the drivers are free to race up to the safety car, but not to pass. And it looked like Rue getting crossed up in the braking zone there into the Rettifilio, with Thrasher in fourth. The drivers now slowing down a little bit. TD's Rue, Hugestar, Thrasher, Hyphy Honda as we enter the caution period. 27 minutes into the race. That was a long hold for the safety car driver to wait in the pits. Deviant is in seventh, and let's see how we are doing. We've got Kuros Kai behind Lalo Kills. Kuros Kai in ninth, Lalo Kills in eighth, Saito in 10th. Maxwell has overtaken Sully for 11th position, and we'll be hoping to continue the progress forward now. Sully in 12th, and there we have our safety car driver, and it is a incredibly brightly coloured safety car, is it not? So his lap 2 for the safety car, because he completed the installation lap, the green flag lap, and then back into the pits, of course. But it is lap 14 for our leader, T Deeds, and he'll be feeling pretty good in the car. He's saved some soft tyre usage here, and presumably going to need to pit again. It's likely two-stop race here for the drivers. Unusual to see them try and do a one-stop with 6 times tyre wear, and as we all know, the hard tyres are virtually unusable in GT7. Or certainly won't allow you to use them very well. Safety car being given a blue flag. That's just a slight issue there with the game. Of course, it's not recognising we have to have a human actually drive the safety car. So it's the way that everything works out to try and get these caution periods working. I hope everyone is enjoying the race today, and you've if you have been able to leave a like or a subscribe on the channel, very grateful to you. So thank you very much for watching, either live or on demand later on. Of course, I'm saying this now and realizing that if you are watching on demand, you're probably skipping this section. So I'm probably doing myself no favors with that. Safety car, I think, should be on his way in at the end of this lap, is he? Or will he go through another lap? Safety car will complete another lap and allow the field to completely condense. We'll run through tyre strategies then, but most drivers started on the soft tyre. I remember Thrasher started on the mediums, but at this stage, looks like everybody is on the soft tyres. Interesting to see. No one, apart from Sully, has actually changed compound. So Sully on the medium tyres, and as the field condenses here, this is going to be quite interesting at the back of the grid to be on the harder compound tyre. Obviously, the time gap to the leader is minimised, and he knows that everybody in front of him will have to pit again. He may not have to, but they may want to use the mediums later, or just go for 3 sets of soft. I don't know which is the mandatory tyre today. I'm expecting it's the soft, as it has been previously. We wait to see then, as Mercury given the blue flag. It's a good job that Gran Turismo doesn't disqualify a driver for holding up the field, because they would be long gone. T-Deeds, Rue, and Hugestar with Thrasher, Hyphy Honda and Slug still our top 6. Several drivers have got their hazard lights on, as we call them in the UK. I don't know what. Actually, it's one of the few things. One of the things that I don't know whether that crosses the transatlantic ocean in terms of understanding. What do you call the both turn signals on at the same time? What does that refer to? Let me know in the comments, because I'm always happy to be corrected and improve my knowledge. We call them hazard lights here, and some people just simply use them to indicate that they are parking illegally in the UK. But the idea is that there is a hazard, and you're warning the drivers behind or in front that there's something to pay attention to that they may not have seen. The wind has shifted towards the north, and it's now a northwesterly 2 meters per second. It's dropped down slightly, but that will be a hell of a tailwind coming through the parabolica, which will upset the cars, and it will be a direct headwind going into Lesmo 1. It's certainly, and of course a crosswind across Ascari, and Ascari didn't need any more challenge, did it, for our drivers? Just checking in on my communication here to make sure whether I will see anybody, any information incoming for me that was necessary for the broadcast, but nothing additional. Mercury will head into the pits then and take hand over the pace roll to T Deeds, who will be able to restart this race at his own discretion. We ride with Rue in second, just drop down to Hughes Jar perhaps for the restart. Excuse me, what just happened there? We have TDs then waiting to restart the race. It is green flag whenever TDs wants to go. Looks like he's waiting for the start finish line to stretch the field out. Hughes Jar already getting out of the slipstream and heading down the order. Looking for that braking zone on the way in. That is good tyre prep from Hughes Jar. He's got a much more compromised run through the Rettifilio. Rue, though, struggled as well. Thrasher is following Hughes Jar through, and Thrasher, enjoying the extra grip on the soft tyres at this stage, is stuck on the outside of the Curva Grande. It will become the inside for the Della Roggia chicane, but he's not able to hang with the Chevy round Curva Grande. He's still got his indicators on, his hazard lights on, and he's wary now of Hi-Fi Honda following behind. TD Hughes, Rue, Thrasher, Hi-Fi Honda, and Lalo Kills. Looks like we may have lost a driver. Have we lost Slug? I think Slug has disappeared. Well, he's gone down to 9th position. Didn't have a good restart there, unfortunately for him. Slug down in the order, so he's dropped out of 6th place as Lalo Kills loses out to Maxwell. Maxwell with a good restart now. Remember, Maxwell was as low as last and in 11th place prior to this run. He's on the soft tyres, a half a tank of fuel, and has moved forward up to 6th place. Good restart then from Maxwell in the Jaguar, obviously lighting up those tyres very nicely indeed as Lalo Kills leads Sully 7th and 8th. We have Slug down in 9th, Kuros Kai in 10th, Divine in 11th, and Saito at the back of the grid now in that 12th position. Looks like Rue is going to be looking behind him here because Thrasher is on the ascendancy in terms of pace, coming through the Parabolica then, the first lap after the restart that was just after half distance. We are 35 minutes down, 25 to go here in this endurance level event. The temperatures are building on the racetrack as well as the day wears on, and the sun, the Italian sunshine, is burning down on that racetrack and raising the temperatures for our drivers. Thrasher is getting very late on the brakes, and he'll fancy his chances here. I think he was so late on the brakes he caught Hi-Fi Honda out, who has just about escaped contact with the barriers. But Hi-Fi Honda, 2 wins from 2 so far, but this is 2 mistakes so far in today's Monza race, and perhaps this Italian round not suiting the Alfa Romeo, ironically enough. Down to 7th position for Hi-Fi Honda. That is a bit of a shocker for him so far. He'll be hoping to move forward if he can and minimise his losses, but he will be able to drop his lowest score here, as will every driver, with the exception perhaps of Hughes Jar, who had a no score. So, I mean, yes, technically it's his lowest score, but he won't be able to drop anything else other than that one. Cookie Monster of Rue in P3, following the Ferrari now of the Hughes Jar, with Thrasher, the Ferrari behind, as he still also has not turned off his hazard lights in 4th. It's fair enough on the safety car period, or perhaps if you're coming into the pits, super polite if you want to indicate to your rivals that you're headed towards the pit lane. but just running them for no apparent reason is a little bit odd. Lalo Kills in 5th position, and that big hole between Thrasher and Lalo Kills is down to Hyphy Honda's previous mistake, who finds himself in 7th and is closing in on Sully now in the Altoids Peugeot. They take 3 completely different lines. Sully puts himself on the outside of Lalo Kills. That was always going to be a disappearing lane for Sully, and ends up off the circuit slightly. Hyphy Honda gets the run here on Lalo Kills and will do his level best to pick up that slipstream, pick up the toe. But it does look like he's giving up a little bit of top speed with his setup, because those 2 cars, of course, identical aerodynamically. Lalo Kills not handing over the position to his teammate, who has 2 wins to his name in the season so far. Lalo Kills perhaps enjoying a moment or 2 with his teammate behind him for now. So TD, Huge Jar, Thrasher, Rue, Lalo Kills ahead of these drivers, Hyphy Honda, Sully and Slug. And then further back we have Saito, Kuroskai and Deviant. We have lost a driver, unfortunately, to, I think, a mechanical issue. Looks like we've had engine failure, and I believe that's on the Jaguar. What does that tell you about British car building? Our apologies on behalf of my nation to Maxwell. Unfortunately, it looks like that Jaguar has given up the ghost and the engine has let go. Lalo Kills is holding off Hyphy Honda for now, but surely is just holding up his teammates' trip here. They could alternate the toe and work together to move forward to the battle for the podium. At the moment, though, Lalo Kills kind of holding up, you have to feel, Hyphy Honda. Hyphy Honda is on identical tyres as well, heading down into Ascari. That puts Lalo Kills right out onto the marbles, and he held on. That was a little bit hairy for Lalo Kills, possibly a Code Brown moment in the cockpit. He gets a good run out of Ascari. It looked like Hyphy Honda just struggling on his way out there. Perhaps surprising himself by the run he had and a slightly different line. Starting Ascari on the inside. Lalo Kills brakes late on the inside of Parabolica. I wonder what's going through the mind of our championship leader, Hyphy Honda, as he is battling harder with his teammate than he has anybody else so far. Certainly his teammate not making it straightforward and easy for him. As they go side by side across the start-finish line to start the 19th lap, and just behind them, Slug trying to bring that huge Renault Megane trophy into the slipstream toe to get himself down into the Rettifilio, and that was several drivers just catching themselves out in the braking zone for the Rettifilio. Certainly the 2 Peugeots struggling. Sully perhaps more than his teammate, as Hyphy Honda is now in 5th, managing to unlock some pace, and Lalo Kills is now looking in his mirrors to the blue and pink Renault Megane trophy of Slug in P7 behind him. TD's in 1st, Thrasher in 2nd at the moment. Let's go and have a look at that battle for the podium, and it's looking fantastic here, the battle for 2nd position. But TD's 2nd place in the championship, fastest lap last time out, and he has to score big now. Score as big as possible while his main championship rival, Hyphy Honda, is out of contention. It piles on the pressure for the drivers when they are in this situation. They know it is now or never to make those scores count, and it won't be every day or every race that Hyphy Honda will be in the same position. Thrasher in 2nd place, Huge Jar trying to follow him along and challenge now into Parabolica. The 2 Ferraris, that sound would be absolutely gorgeous going down towards Parabolica. 2 Ferraris side by side, the GT4 engines singing where they were built to race, and that's Huge Jar takes 2nd place. Maybe not for long though, as Thrasher is in 3rd position. Rue pits, feeling perhaps like he was being held up. Rue into the pits with 19 minutes to go on our timed race here. So we are 20 laps in. Looks like we'll have around 9 or 10 more to finish the race, and Huge Jar in 2nd place. Now the Ferraris can work together without fear that they're going to give up position to the car that was behind them. and Hyphy Honda gains a position as a result of that all taking place. So in 4th position now. I wonder if those Ferraris are still going to hold each other up at all. Both on the soft tyres. I would be surprised if both can make these soft tyres last to the end of the race. Thrasher looking to be a little bit more careful, which doesn't suit his name, going through Ascari, certainly staying off the curbs there. And we can see Lalo Kills in 5th, just about holding off Slug. Our Saito right behind, and it's actually Sully has dropped a huge distance away from our Saito, unfortunately for him. The number 19, very much the lead car today of the Altoids Peugeots from the 53. Just putting one wheel over the curb, not ideal for Sully that time through, as Kuros Kai is in 9th. We've got Rue down in 10th position, again on the soft tyres, and hoping then to get his way all the way to the front here with the huge undercut, and hoping that everybody has to do the same as him and pit for more tyres before the end of the race. Deviant has done the same, and I think they're on the same kind of strategy, the two Chevys. Number 3 Mobile 1 at the tail of the field, but has just pitted. T-Deeds comes into the pits then from the lead, and will be looking to fuel with just enough fuel for the end of this race. But the Ferraris fly past the pit lane and have got tyres and fuel to spare at this stage. So, of course, the later in the race you can go before your final fuel stop, the less fuel you have to put in, and therefore the less stationary time. But the pit lane is busy. Hyphy Honda is in, as is Saito. So that means our new order is Huge Jar, Thrasher, Lalo Kills, Slug and Kuros Kai on the racetrack, with a bit of a battle happening on the pit lane as well. Coming out of the pits, though, is your former leader, T-Deeds, in 6th place. Has he got this strategy right? Is he going to have some overtaking left to do as Kuros Kai slides his way out of the Retafilio chicane? Looks like T-Deeds just taking it very carefully, as he is very wise to do. Full tank of fuel to finish the race. That might be overkill on the fuel, but playing it safe and knowing then that he can run aggressive to the end. Huge Jar and Thrasher continue to follow each other very closely. The two Ferraris then presumably heading towards the pit lane. This lap or the one afterwards, in terms by the look of the fuel left on the car. Certainly now Thrasher is flashing red, so we'll have no more than a lap and a half of fuel left to go. The fastest lap at the moment, the Chevy driver Rue, a 1:57.410. Next time I'm with him, I'll find out what lap that was actually performed in. But for now, Thrasher heading in the wheel tracks of his teammate Huge Jar. It is interesting, they don't have to split their tyre stops into the pits, because they will have different pit lane entries and pit stop areas. It's not a very short or difficult pit lane. Thrasher pits then. Huge Jar stays out as his fuel tank goes into the red. Slug may well be able to continue on through here, and indeed he does. So going through with 1/4 of our race left to go. Huge Jar leads Slug, and now Lalo Kills in 3rd position. We wait to see. T-Deeds will pass the pit lane, past Thrasher and Kuros Kai, who are in the pit lane at the moment, and up to 4th position, your former leader. Behind him, Thrasher's gone for the medium tyres. He didn't like those softs, and he wants to race hard to the finish rather than take it easy on the tyres. You can understand that from him. It's right on the bubble, 15 minutes to go. T-Deeds then 4th position for now, but the cars in front of him yet to pit. Hyphy Honda, where is our championship leader? He is in P7, having pitted fairly recently and put a full tank of fuel in to try and run the engine as strongly fueled as possible, as rich, that's the word I was looking for, as richly fueled as possible to the finish. So will he manage to overtake the likes of his teammate, the likes of Slug, and even potentially Huge Jar before the finish? At the moment, though, the pace living at its best here with Roux, whose fastest lap was set a long time ago, more than 8 laps ago, and that's all I can see. So unfortunately Roux in 6th place. He's behind Thrasher, has slightly older tyres, has better grip at this phase of the tyre period of the stint, but Thrasher will be stronger at the end of the stint. So if Thrasher can hold off Roux, or at least allow him through and stay with him, he'll be in a good position on the last lap or two to potentially keep his position. Huge jar pits surely now. Slug and Lolo Kills on their way in as well. We only have a few laps to go. The wind has dropped right down. That will relieve the drivers of any worries or sideways moments mid-corner. That will help a lot. The wind is actually halved in speed at this stage. Look at Roux running straight out onto the marbles there. He's going to lose grip going all the way around the outside. Might even pick up a penalty if he goes too much further. It was inches in it between him and the racetrack. T-Deeds is the leader. Huge Jar is in 2nd position coming out of the pits, but we'll have Thrasher on his tail very quickly. Looks like Huge Jar managed to action a good overcut there. Remember those two Ferraris close together on the in-lap cycle, so looks like Huge Jar with a better in-lap pit stop and out-lap cycle, and it did short fuel the car in comparison to his teammate, who perhaps overfueled to be absolutely safe to the finish. I don't think Huge Jar, though, with 2/3 of a tank of fuel on board, is going to struggle to complete the remaining just less than 12 minutes we have on the race. TD's leads Huge Jar. A decent gap between the two. TD's feeling pretty comfortable out there, and he just needs to bring the car home now. This stage, no worries about further caution periods. He'll be crossing his fingers that there's no issues like befell Maxwell with his mechanical. That's Thrasher in 3rd place. We have Roux in 4th. Hyphy Honda can see the drivers in front and can see his target as a potential overtake, and that's where the podium is for Hyphy Honda. He needs those points to defend the championship lead as things stand. Slug is in 6th, Lalo Kills in 7th place, then comes Sully in 8th, Saito, teammate, in 9th, with Kuros Kai, who's obviously had some issues to get to where he is. Saito may struggle to make the end comparatively on fuel, but Deviant is at the very back of the grid at this stage, with our safety car driver having exited from the lobby and got out of the seat. His service is rendered. Deviant down into 11th position now with just over half a tank of fuel remaining on the car. Looks like Roux drawing alongside Thrasher here, or at least looking for an opportunity to brake earlier, or on the inside onto the Rettifilio. Thrasher trying to go the long way, is he? No, he's going to try and get the better run out of the Rettifilio chicane, but the classic situation there is to be slightly offline and then get the car just to step out on traction on the coming out of the slow corner for Thrasher, just slightly offline. There really is just 2 good grip wheel tracks out of the Rettifilio through the Curva Grande and down towards the Della Roggia chicane, and Roux is in that 3rd position trying to hog the apex there, and Thrasher is really struggling actually on the rear of this Ferrari. A lot of horsepower being translated through the rear axle and struggling despite that big rear wing to maintain adhesion, but of course the rear wing not as effective at such slow speeds as some of the exits of the corners here in Monza. Of course he'll have it trimmed right out as well for performance for this the long straights, or at least long full throttle zones. Into Ascari then goes Thrasher. Let's ride with Hyphy. Whoa, Hyphy Honda making huge gains through Ascari, potentially looking at an opportunity to overtake here is Hyphy Honda. Certainly Thrasher starting to defend to the inside of the Parabolica. That does kind of shut down the options for Hyphy Honda. but he gets the apex better than Thrasher. He gets hooked up into the corner. That's a great run on the way out of the corner. He needs a little bit of toe here, but Thrasher holding the inside. Why is Hyper Honda not using the toe to his best ability? He's got maybe 1 mile an hour in terms of speed difference. Thrasher closing out before he can draw alongside Hyphy with a potential opportunity to dive down the inside, but he doesn't want to lose any more ground than he already has this race. And just keeping Thrasher guessing here is Hyphy Honda, our championship leader. So on the long run then through Curva Grande corner goes Hyphy Honda, and he is just trying his level best now, looking to make a move potentially into the Della Roggia chicane, but Thrasher getting away slightly. Hyphy Honda very aggressive on the inside apex through the Della Roggia chicane. Thrasher is very much driving a defensive race here, not able to challenge Roux for third position. Roux inching his way away from these cars with 7.5 minutes left on the clock. It is Hyphy Honda in that fourth position and running to the outside on the way out as Lesmo 2 and completes the move. That was the defensive driving taking effect that time of Thrasher, and Hyphy Honda getting through and around, and there is Thrasher then looking for the opportunity down the inside, not quite getting there. But unfortunately for him, the medium tyres not switching on, so he'll be thinking about that strategic call. He's gone different to the other drivers throughout tonight, but maybe he just doesn't enjoy the soft tyre grip at all. Hyphy Honda now with an outside shot at a podium here, despite his massive problems through the race earlier on. He is slowly working his way towards finding a potential podium result out of this race. T Deeds though leads, and with two strong results prior, including a fastest lap for T Deeds earlier in the season, he is going to be leading this championship, I think, regardless of where Hyphy Honda manages to finish fourth or third. I think second is out of the question for Hyphy Honda. But this could well represent his worst finish of the season so far, even if he manages to get, of course, up to second, and I don't think that's on for him. 6 minutes to go. How many laps will that mean then? Potentially, I think 3 complete laps we will see in addition to this one. So, end of lap 29 potentially, at least for the leader. And that is then Hyphy Honda getting away from Thrasher now. Thrasher's fight has turned to nothing now. He put up a very staunch defence, but ultimately the soft tyres were just that much better. Slug is in 6th once again, and on his own once again. So Slug, a little bit like a snail without a home. In between the top 5 and the bottom 5 or 6. Lalo Kills in 7th place. He showed very well in qualifying, but it hasn't quite translated here. Perhaps Alfa Romeo turning the engine up for qualifying and having to turn it down for the corresponding race distance. Sully is in 8th. Teammate Saito is just catching and has just picked up a penalty, unfortunately. So the battered and bruised Peugeots currently running line astern, but that will change pretty quickly. Sully is having a look here. That looks like a poor exit potentially for Lalo Kills out of the Ascari chicane, and Sully up to 7th. That will cheer up the Peugeot mechanics in the pit lane, while Saito drops down, unfortunately. The McGann of Guros Kai in 10th position, just watching his reserve teammate score a better result than him, with Deviant in 11th and last, but in with a shout here of avoiding that 11th position at the end of the race. T Deeds gap at the front pretty huge. Wind picking up again slightly with just a few minutes to go in the race. Just over 4 minutes to go as they have started the second sector of the 27th lap. There you can see Huge Jar home circuit for the Ferrari, home circuit for half of our grid, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, and of course Lamborghini, represented here in the GT4 selections for this season 3.2. Cookie Monster Chevy travelling a long way from home to race here at the Cathedral of Speed. Don't forget today, folks, if you can, to leave a like and subscribe on the video if you would be so kind. Be very grateful for any attention or clips you might feel like making as well. Hyphy Honda in fourth, stretching away from Thrasher, catching Rue, but is it too late to feature on our podium for the championship leader in the camouflage Alfa Romeo? Sponsoring by Fanatec, but Fanatec may be asking for a slightly better sticker placement there. It's almost invisible. Maybe that's good for the eagle-eyed among us to spot the Easter eggs on the coverage. Thrasher not able to make the medium tyres work, not really able, even at the end of this final stint here, to bring the speed up of the Ferrari, and again I think slightly overfueled here to the finish. Rue, well, he may struggle to get the car home to a finish, as we will have this lap and one more, as far as I'm calculating anyway, to a finish. So he may have to just lift and coast here. It is torturous on the fuel usage, especially if you're driving a Chevy GT4 as Rue is. Not only is the Cookie Monster hungry, it's thirsty as well, and uses a lot of its fuel, the number 4 there of Rue. So be thinking about starting to treat the car a little bit more gently at the end of the straights. Short shift on the way out of the slower corners. Keep an eye on the gap behind, of course. You don't want to give up a position unless you absolutely have to. Better to enter low fuel mode 3 or 4 tenths ahead with a few meters to the finish than to over conserve. But it's going to be an interesting conservation run, just sipping the fuel down the long straights here. See if you can make it work here. Lap 28. Fuel light is on Rue's car, as everyone else around him has got plenty of fuel to go. So be thinking about it. Be thinking of little else, I imagine, here, and that could take his focus away from what is a difficult racetrack to progress on and make work. We've got just over 1 minute to go, so this whole group at the top of the order will go through and start the 29th and final lap for them. Some of the other drivers, though, behind will finish early. Curious rules here, rule set on the platform, unfortunately, this series. I don't quite understand. No other form of racing does this and has people finish before the leader, but there you go. Hyphy Honda in 4th. We have Thrasher in 5th position. 40 something seconds, just fewer than 40 seconds to go for Slug to come to cross the line. He'll be fine, as will Sully in 7th, and Lalo Kills in 8th will also start and finish lap 29 on the lead lap. I don't know if anyone has actually been lapped on the circuit here today. They certainly haven't. So Saito in 9th. We'll see Kuros Kai across the line. So it may just be our 11th place driver who will finish. Deviant, in fact, he doesn't want to do the next lap. He's deliberately slowing the car, and he's quite happy to finish up there with the checkered flag for Deviant. That is him. Done and dusted. That's the Chevy home on the end of lap 28. 1 lap fewer. Oh, something huge has happened. T Deeds has given up the lead. Let's go back and actually see what happened here. T Deeds, are we sipping the fuel too slowly to wait and see? How did Huge Jar get through? Let's ride then with T Deeds as we head towards the Della Roggia chicane. Do we make a mistake into this chicane here? Yes, we're off on the gravel. We're slowing down. The wedge-shaped Lamborghini gets stuck in the gravel, and Huge Jar says, "Thank you very much. I don't mind a win." And T Deeds, with his championship rival not scoring well today, has just given up a large chunk of the winner's prize. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of ground to make up on this final lap, and that is absolutely heartbreaking for T Deeds, with Huge Jar just taking the Ferrari team up to the front of the grid. Yes, he looked into it, but he had to be there to take advantage of a late race issue for T Deeds, who struggled through the Della Roggia. It does look like the front left is looking a little bit worse for wear. Huge Jar bringing the Tifosi onto their feet. The flags are waving. He can't believe his good fortune, his just desserts for a very hard-fought race for the Ferrari team. What a turn-up for the books as Huge Jar comes through the Parabolica for the final time. The team will be running across to the pit lane. Nonetheless, not quite expecting to see him. They probably have been in transit between the garage and the side of the track. Huge Jar wins in Monza. What a turn-up on the final lap of the race from T Deeds in second position. He'll be kicking himself. Rue with the pace tonight for third on the fastest lap, and the fuel just enough to bring the Chevy home with a pixel or two of fuel remaining. Hyphy Honda, dramatic race for Hyphy Honda, championship leader, comes home in fourth, and that's Thrasher then brings the second Ferrari home in fifth. The Ferrari team will be very pleased to see a first and fifth result. Slug for no team or championship points in particular, but the reserve driver coming in sixth position. Sully will be hounded to the finish by Lalo Kills. Sully finishes seventh, Lalo Kills in eighth place, and next up we have Saito ahead of Kuroskai in ninth. We know Deviant already won, and there then is Huge Jar winning the race on the final lap of this run. Or have I got myself too excited? What on earth has just happened? I may have called this too early. What? I don't understand. Did I just skip way too far back? I think I did. Ah! Right, okay, there is Deviant slowing. This... I must have skipped way further than I had planned to and gone back 2 laps. I think things are going to finish roughly as I did describe a few minutes ago. Let's build it up again though as the Ascari corner is dealt with. We go for Huge Jar. I was thinking about editing this out, but why bother? It's going to be funny. Huge Jar on the penultimate lap of the race takes the lead of the race. He's coming through Parabolica for the last time. Tifosi rise on their feet. Wave the flag for the Italian manufacturer here at home. They passes the Tricolore, curbs on the exit, and hugs the pit wall to take a famous win in Monza for Huge Jar. T Deeds brings the car home in second position. Hyphy Honda did beat Rue in the end, so Hyphy Honda comes home third. Rue is on low fuel mode, so Thrasher brings the Ferrari home for a fourth position. First and fourth for Ferrari. Sully will beat Rue. This is heartbreaking for Rue. I spotted it earlier on. I was unsure whether he was going to do it, and he did in fact finish on low fuel. So Sully versus Lalo Kills towards the flag here as he's in fifth place. Lalo Kills in sixth. Sully finishes the race. A good result for the Peugeot team, and a good result for Alfa Romeo as well, finishing third and sixth. Peugeot taking home some points, 5th and 7th, with Kuroskai in 8th. Then here comes Rue. Can he actually beat Slug home? Slug is still running, but the Cookie Monster, too many cookies, I think, to finish, and has no fuel, so finishes the race a very slow lap. He does have the fastest lap on the circuit, but unfortunately for Slug, that is it, over and done with. Rue finishes in 9th. Slug couldn't catch him. He's also in low fuel mode, that's why. And your winner then is the Huge Jar for Ferrari in car number 44. The blue flashes on the car, helping bring him home. He's even picking up the dirt on the tyres to make sure his weight is sufficient at the end of the race, like a pro. Huge Jar leads T Deeds then, and Hyphy Honda for your finish. My apologies for that penultimate lap. That's all down to me skipping back too far to catch the change in the lead, but we got it in the end. We can always edit that out, right? Thanks to everybody at Deviant for they're bringing me into the league. Thanks for the racing. Thanks for watching, for liking and subscribing on your way out. And we'll see you soon here at Deviant. But for now, we will catch you on the next race day.